Hi, my name is Christina and I am your librarian here at Christina's Bookshelf. And today I am bringing you your top 5-ish Wednesday. And I say ish because I generally try to start with a top 5, and I say generally, this is my second video. But when I do things like tags and other miscellaneous whatevers, I always try to stick with a number, but it's always an ish because then comes like recommendations, or I'll think of things at the top of my head and I want to share them because I love talking books, which is why we're here. And I'm already rambling. That's how this goes. That's why it's fun. Let's have some fun. Today's topic for your top 5 Wednesday is favorite urban fantasies. For some reason, I had it written down originally as sci-fi, and I was like, yes! And I had compiled my list, and I'm glad I went back and looked because how embarrassing would that have been? I have my little notes here, and while I was at work today, my mind kind of went and played along, and I came up with some more ideas. So we're back to the ish part of top 5-ish Wednesday. The top of my list, and this is like my number 1. Everything else after that, there's really no particular order. My number 1 favorite urban fantasy is the Inheritance series by Amelia Faulkner. I talk about this all the freaking time, but how can you not? You have Lawrence and Quentin. When we first meet Lawrence, he's just this drug addict. He has some powers, but it's not like it's anything really to write home about. He works with his mother in the flower shop and he does drugs. That's like his life. And then he meets Quentin. Quentin is running away from home. More importantly, he's running away from his father, who is one of the worst, despicable, horrifying, just downright dastardly humans I have ever encountered in my existence. If there is ever a top 5 villains in Booklandia, the Duke of Banbury, Quentin's father, would be in the top 5. So these two meet. It's not like a love at first sight. Quentin is very drawn in. It takes forever for Lawrence to get him to come out of his shell, to smile, to enjoy the little things in life and accept that it's okay to enjoy those things. And then they have to move on from strangers to friends to something more. Lawrence's powers become more manifested and stronger, and he becomes more powerful if he can have sex. Quentin is more of an asexual being, but these two are meant to be and very much in love after a certain point. So it's very interesting how Amelia Faulkner brings the story together, these characters together, this world together, and oh my god, I am so in love with it. The first season is complete. I believe the entire first season is out in a box set. You can get on Amazon, get it. If you love romance, it's urban fantasy and it is spectacular. I have actually the books for the next couple of urban fantasies I want to talk about. The other two I've written down are MF. So let's kind of do a back and forth. So the first one I talked about, the Inheritance series, is MM. Let's do an MF. I've talked about this one, I think in a book tag a while back. And I don't know if this would really be considered urban fantasy or not. I would consider it such. But the Daughter of Darkness trilogy by Mandy Roth, I would consider urban fantasy. It has all sorts of fantasy characters. There's vampires and fae, magic galore within the pages of that trilogy. And when I read the reviews, a lot of people were very upset with the main character, calling her a slut and how she slutted it up and had sex with everybody. But there was so much magic being at play, and people wanting the main character to be with this person and putting magic spells here, magic spells there. And if you read through the whole trilogy and you still feel like she's a slut and you're not seeing the magic abound, I guess that's your prerogative. But I felt like, 1, sleep with everybody if you want to. You only live once. 2, holy shit, there's fucking sexy people everywhere, magic everywhere. And she has 2 pasts that she's dealing with. And if you're like, what? 2 pasts that she's dealing with and that she has to work through to move on for a future. And it constantly plays a role. And I thought it was spectacular. I freaking loved this story so effing much. Daughter of Darkness trilogy by Mandy Roth. MF. Fantastic. Okay. A MM. Once again, these are in no particular order. I'm just going back and forth. Give me 1 second. The third on the list, the second MM, is the Arcadia Trust series by Christian Baines. As of right now, there's 2 books out, and I always have to read the titles because I always get it mixed up and I say wrong things. We have The Beast Without and The Orchard of Flesh. I have a review of this one. It's a really old review from my old backdrop, but we have a wickedly hot vampire that lives in Sydney, Australia. So we have wonderful Australian accents that get to play in our heads. He seems to have the hots for this werewolf. And in this one, we have to track this werewolf down. He's done something. We gotta get him. At the beginning of this one, we have to track him down again. But there's more at play. And it gets even more sinister and grotesque. Like, ew. But it's what I love about Christian Baines, is that his mind is wicked. And it's enjoyable for me because I love those types of things. So the Arcadia Trust series by Christian Baines would be, it's number 2 for MM, and it's number 3 in my top 5-ish of urban fantasy. Another MF series that I would consider urban fantasy is the Immortals of New Orleans by Kim Grosso. This obviously takes place for the most part in New Orleans. It does kind of go around here and there and everywhere, but the most part. We have vampires, we have werewolves, we have fae, we have witches. The main men are freaking sexy as sin. I could have done like all of them. I think Leopold the vampire was like one of my absolute favorites. And then Jax, who was a werewolf, was my second, if I'm getting the names correct. Loved them. Their protective instincts, territorial, this is mine, possessiveness. But at the same time, like if they had a human mate and that human mate had a job, had a life, they accepted that. Because I've read so many shifter books that it's like, once you become mine, you will be the alpha's wife and you will take on these responsibilities and what you did over here no longer applies. And I'm like, that's the kind of bullshit. We see characters that we think are good flip, and we see characters that we think are be outrageously good characters. If you're into MF and you love all the paranormals, the Immortals of New Orleans by Kim Grosso is something that I would highly recommend. The 5th one and the 3rd MM books that I wanted to talk about is the Fairy Tales of the Open Road series by Lex Chase. I've talked about these a couple of times, but I can't reiterate how amazing it is, and you need to get into these. Lex brings us a different look at the Disney princesses that we grew up with. The 2 main characters in this are brothers, but one is the persona of Sleeping Beauty, and the other is Snow White. And throughout this, we get to see a whole bunch of other characters that we've fallen in love with from our childhood and our youth, and Lex Chase transforms them into something comical and amazing and takes the switch and flips them for something just grandiose and remarkable, and absolutely just takes the stereotype and the norm of these princesses and says, hey, you're grown up, this is the real life. If you lose your slipper, somebody's not going to come after you door to door and say, excuse me, does this shoe fit? There's so much pop cultural references, which was one of the things that absolutely drew me in here, besides the whole let's switch and do everything to revert and make the princesses that we grew up even more stellar and awesome than we possibly can. And I think Lex does a really good job of capturing the feelings, the characters' feelings, our feelings, side characters, and really telling the story. And it becomes this road trip that's amazing and terrifying, and watching the development and the heartbreak and seeing the unthinkable and unimaginable happen right before your eyes. And that's not how we learned it. That's not how this is supposed to go. That's where she takes us, and it's amazing. Another really good urban fantasy that goes along with the switching of the Disney princesses, or Disney fairy tales, I should say, and is in the MM world. And I did a review of it, so I'll leave a card up here so you can click it, is Beau and the Beast, or Beau and the Beast. I said it, I think, both ways throughout my review, and I think somebody told me the correct pronunciation is Beau and the Beast. I gave that one, I believe, 4 stars. There were chunks of the book that were overly descriptive and could have been taken out, and the book still would have had the same effect. But oh my gosh, was it freaking fantastic. Still had that same magical quality, that spark that Beauty and the Beast does. And then of course you have like the glorious wonders of the mortal instruments and the infernal devices, you know, all the stuff. Cassandra Clare is fantastic in my opinion. And I think that's like really all I'm going to discuss before I continue to go on and like things just start splurting out, because I'm having a lot come to the forefront of my mind right now. And this video could probably go on forever as long as they keep coming and never stop. Isn't that everybody's dream? If you've enjoyed this top 5-ish Wednesday, I'm going to ask that you help with that YouTube algorithm and give me a like. Leave me a comment. I love to interact with all of you guys, and go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I try to get new content out every Monday through Thursday, but I honestly never know what time. And that is the magic of the subscribe button, is that you will get a notification when I have something new for you. If you're like me and think this chick's pretty awesome, down below I'm going to leave stalker links aplenty. Go, click, investigate, enjoy. If you have a book or an arc you'd like me to read, or some light editing proofreading you would like done, you can request via website. And this was your top 5-ish Wednesday. Bye.